Excel Tutorial 8, page 521, which is case problem 1. Okay, first of all, in order to be able to do this case, you have to read the information so you'll understand what you're doing. Okay, go ahead and open up a Spirit workbook, do a file save as, name it Spirit Store, go to the documentation tab, enter your name and the date, the normal stuff we always do, right? All right. Step number 3, in the product pricing and shipping worksheet, okay, there's your product pricing and shipping worksheet, assign the defined name shipping cost to the data stored in the range D2 to E7. So you're just going to go to D2 to E7 and create your defined name. You know how to do that. If you don't, just look it up. Okay. In step number 4, in the invoice worksheet, use data validation to make it easier to enter ordered items in the range C16 to C36. Okay, so C16 through C36, right? And you're going to go to data validation, and you're going to create a list, and your source, okay? Where's your source? Okay, here's your product pricing. So here's your source. So you're going to drag the source of your product pricing, and then that's how you're going to make that list. So this should sound pretty familiar. In the per unit column, the range G16 to G36. Okay, so here's your per unit column. There's G16 through G36. Use a VLOOKUP function to retrieve the per unit price of each ordered product from the product pricing data in the range A3 to B28 in the product and shipping worksheet. Hint, use the defined name product price that was assigned to the product pricing data. Okay, so you're entering your VLOOKUP based on what's located in this cell, right? Okay, so you're in this cell. Now, obviously, when you're in this cell, you're going to drag this down to make it increment. So in this cell, what's in C16, go to your table array, what column, we want an exact match, so we're putting in false to do the if error in a few minutes. Okay, again, should be pretty familiar. And now in the next one, they tell you modify the formula to put in your if error. Okay, that if there is an error, you just leave a blank cell. A blank cell is open quote, close quote, so comma, open quote, close quote for that one, right? All right, step number 7, in the total column, and that's all the total column right here. Okay, use an inner formula to calculate the total charge, which is just the quantity, this times this, right? So that's easy, equals this times this, and then they want you to put in an if error and leave it blank if there's an error, so comma, open quote, close quote. Pretty simple so far. In the subtotal cell, H37, add a formula to sum the total column, okay? So you're just going to hit your sum and sum everything in the total column. That's chapter 1 easy. Then you're going to kick in an if error, equals if error, and leave it blank if there's an error. This is like the 3rd time you've done that, so that should be coming along pretty well. All right, step number 9. In the sales tax cell, right there, enter a formula with nested if functions to calculate 8.25% of the subtotal cell, which is 837, if the customer state, cell D12, is Ohio, or 8.75% if the state is Michigan, otherwise 0. Okay, and format the cell appropriately. Interesting, so read your hint. The defined name subtotal SUBTOTL is assigned to cell H37. Note that the defined name subtotal without the A in it is intentionally not spelled correctly as subtotal, which is the name of an Excel function. The defined name state is assigned to cell D12. Okay, so if the state equals Ohio, then 0.0825 times subtotal. But if the state is Michigan, then we're going to use 0.0875 times subtotal. And if it's neither one of those two, then it's a 0. Okay, again, if the state equals Ohio, then 0.0825 times subtotal. If the state equals Missouri, 0.0875 times subtotal. And if it's neither one of those, then just leave it 0. Okay? That was probably the most difficult one in the entire case. Step number 10, in the shipping cell. Now, the trick in the shipping cell is not to make it an exact match. It makes an approximate match. If you don't remember how to do that, just go back to your video that shows you how to do it in the tutorial, right? Enter a formula that looks up the shipping cost from the shipping cost table in the product pricing and shipping worksheet based on the subtotal in H37. If the subtotal is 0, the shipping cost should display 0. Format the cell appropriately. Hint, use the defined name you created for the shipping cost table data. Okay, so if subtotal equals 0, then 0. If not, give me a VLOOKUP subtotal from the shipping cost, which is your table array, column 2. Just remember not to make it an exact match when you do it. Okay? Step number 11, in the total due cell, calculate the invoice by earning a formula that adds the values in the subtotal, sales tax, and shipping cells. That couldn't be any easier if they tried. And then you're going to test your worksheet using some data. So, all right, a little quick rundown of how to do this. I mean, you still kind of have to do it on your own. I just wanted to give you some ideas of what you were doing and how you were doing to help you with your homework. And go ahead and knock this case out. If you have problems, you could always work with Kevin in the Learning Center. And of course, you can always ask me questions, but this video should help you get through the case.